I will be showing you guys how to make this particular cap you're seeing on the screen right now. We're going to be doing this step by step as always. Just in case you are new to the channel, welcome to the sewing workshop. If this is your first time here, you are absolutely welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, you are the real MVP. So welcome to the channel. This is the capping which we're going to be making in this video. As you guys can see in my hand, I have some stain of a gum here. That's not an issue. I'm going to remove all of that, but we're going to construct this step by step, and my own formula might be different from the ones you've seen on YouTube or on anywhere before. Just try to unlearn and relearn. You might enjoy this formula a lot more, and all you have to do in exchange for this is to smash the like button. You can see, and whenever you smash this particular like button under this video, something is going to pop up like this. You can see that. So make sure you smash and destroy the like button. That's very, very important. So I'm not going to say without further ado, let's just get into the video. I've been saying without further ado a lot. Just for heads up, these are the materials in which you're going to need in order to make this type of a cap. The first thing is going to be your fabric, your particular, like your cap fabric, right? This is the first thing. The next thing you're going to need is a cardboard. I call this a cardboard. I don't know what they call this, but you can see this where they sell bag tools, material for making bags, making shoes. You're going to see it where they sell stuffs like that. I call it a cardboard. So you're going to need this, your fabric, your cardboard. You're going to need like an ½ inch foam. This is not actually up to ½ inch because I measure it. I like to confirm some things, but here I have like a ¼ inch. I don't know. This is not up to ½ inch foam. It's a ¼ inch. So this is okay. But just call it for ½ inch for them. This is what they are going to give you as an ½ inch foam. So this is what you're going to need: your fabric, your cardboard, your ½ inch foam, and you're going to need a gum. You're going to need a gum. You see what I have here? This is a gum. So I'm just going to put the gum inside the takeout. The food I ate inside this takeout was amazing, but that's another story. Don't worry about that. And the last but not the least is our lining. You're going to need a lining for the cap, right? So these are all the tools you're going to need. So the very first thing we're going to do now is to simply mark our cap height, the height of the cap itself. We're going to mark it on our cardboard. So the total height of the cap is going to be at 2 3/4, right? And the total circumference of the head itself is 22.5 inches. So I'm just giving you the measurement so that you're going to understand what I'm about to do. 22.5 inches is the head circumference, and the height of the cap is going to be at 2 3/4. So I'm going to measure 2 3/4 on my cardboard right now. I'm just going to cut it straight up, just straight. So I'm going to this can be folding, the cardboard can be folding. Just try to align it and make sure it is laid very well. So I'm going to measure 2 3/4 here. You can see that 2 3/4, and here also I'm just going to measure it all around. You can see that 2 3/4. You can see that. And I'm going to connect those dots together. Just connect those dots together. You can see that, and I'm going to simply cut it out. This is what you're going to be having, just a straight line, and I'll cut it out. Just take your time. Cutting this thing always like it to be going to sideways. Just if you have a cutter, you can just simply use a cutter to cut it. So this is what we're going to be having. You see, we have our 2 3/4 total measurement, total height. Depending on the height in which you want, you can go for more than 2 3/4. You can go for 5 inches or 20 inches, depending. It's your choice. So now on our main fabric, this is what we're going to be having. So I want you guys to pay attention here also. On our main fabric, I'm going to simply fold my main cap circumference, right? Main cap circumference. And my cap circumference is 22.5. So I'm going to divide the 22.5 into 2 places, which is going to give me, let me think. Okay, I'm using 20.5. That would be 11 1/4, right? 11 1/4. Okay, 11 1/4. So here all I have to do is just to cut out 11. I'm going to cut plus a sewing allowance, right? I'm just going to mark 11 1/4 here. That's where I'll be sewing. I'll mark 11 1/4 here also. You can see that. So I'm just going to cut this excess because I'm going to still stitch the front part. So I'm just going to cut it out. So after cutting it, you can see that the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut out the cap wrap itself. So here, the cap is going to overlap the cardboard itself by at least 1 inch. You can see that 1 inch. Each of the side is going to overlap the cardboard by 1 inch. So from that particular place now, I'm going to measure 5 inches, right? 5 inches. That's the total measurement I need for the cap, 5 inches. So I'm going to measure 5 inches from here. You can see that. And here also I'll measure 5 inches. You can see that. So now I'm going to measure my total cap circumference. That's the edge circumference, which is 11 1/4. I'm going to mark it here. You can see that. And I'm going to mark it at the front here also. You can see that. So, and I'm going to connect that together. You can see what I have. I'm going to connect that together. And I'm going to connect this one also together. So here, the first one here, I'm going to simply cut it out. That's the upper part. I'm going to cut out the up. You can see. So this is our main cap circumference. This is the main cap itself. So this way I will be stitching my 11 1/4. So that I'm going to have my cap. So now I'm going to cut the cardboard according to my size. So here, you remember our edge circumference is 22.5 inches, right? So now I will have to cut 24 inches here because of the overlap. My edge circumference is 22.5, so I have to overlap the 22.5 on the cardboard. So I'm going to be cutting 24 inches right here. So I'm just going to mark 24 inches. I'm going to show you guys how to get the circumference. It's very, very easy. So I'm just going to cut this out. You see that? Just going to cut that out. So after cutting that out, all you have to do is just to wrap your head together, wrap the cardboard together like this. So from this end point right here, place your tape and simply take it round the head itself. So here we have 23 inches, right? So all you have to do is just to tighten it to give you the 22.5 measurements in which you need. Just keep tightening it and drawing the cardboard inside till you get your exact 22.5. So now we have our 22.5 inches. You see what we have here? 22.5 inches. See that? Make sure you get the accurate 22.5. So after you get that, the next thing you're going to do now is to simply, I'll be using the pen to chalk that edge. I'll chalk that. I mean, like, I will mark the inside also. I'll use it to mark that side. You can see. So when I open it, I have my ending and my closing parts. You see that? See that? So what I will be doing now is I'll simply I'll apply some gum at this edge. That's before the line. I'm just going to apply some gum at that edge. Just right there. Gum is quite thick. Just like that. You can see this. Just make sure you apply gum to that surface, all of the surface. And after that, you're going to simply turn it together and make sure you stop at that same line. You can see what I did. Just going to like hold it down. You see that? Just hold it down. That's your cap circumference and just place it somewhere. So the next thing we're going to do now is to work on the fabric itself. So I want you guys to make sure you pay attention and make sure you smash the like button just in case you are yet to smash the like button. Why have you not smashed the like button? Jesus Christ, God, stop doing that. So now, on the cap itself, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to turn the lining. So I want you guys to pay attention here. This is the lining that we're going to be using. You can see this. So now make sure the right side of the lining is facing the right side of the cap itself. And I'm going to run a stitch all the way all the way down. Then I'm going to simply top stitch the lining so that the stitch will not be obvious at all. I'm going to top stitch the lining. So I want you guys to pay attention to it. This is what we're going to be having. I already sewed the lining to the fabric and I did the top stitch at the front part. So this is what you're going to be having. You can see that. So basically the lining that you're going to be using is not supposed to be more than 2.5 inches. So I want you guys to pay attention here. You know our fabric is going to go inside by 1 inch at each side, right? So there's going to be a space in between the cardboard that is going to be obvious. So we need to cover that space in between the cardboard. That's why we need a lining. So your lining must not be more than 2.5 inches, because at the edge of the lining also I'm going to fold it. So I want you guys to pay attention at this place. The lining is going to cover the inside of the cap itself. It's going to cover the naked cardboard that will be obvious. So I want you guys to pay attention here. So our lining is going to be a total of 2.5 inches wideness, and it's going to be of the same length with the fabric itself. So you can see here I have 2.5 inches. You can see that. So at the edge of the lining, I'm going to fold in half of an inch, and I'm going to iron it down. So the total wideness of the lining itself is going to be a total of 2 inches, which is going to cover the naked of the cardboard in the middle. So after folding it, this is what you're going to be having. You see that? So I'm going to simply, this my own technique might be different from all of the one that you're going to see on YouTube. There are several videos about this that you're going to see, but this is a little bit different because we just have to create something like very, very good, a better result, right? So after that, you're going to simply put your hemming gum, and this is what we're going to be having. You're going to simply be able to stitch that side. So after putting the hemming gum, you can see the edge, how smooth the edges are. That's very important. So I'm going to fold this together, and I'll just stitch the fabric together. I'm just going to do my stitch. Then I'll be having my head circumference. So after stitching it, this is what we're going to be having. All I will do is now is to open that place up and give it a thorough ironing, right? After ironing it, I'm going to wear it on the cardboard itself. So after wearing it, I'm going to add some gum inside of the cardboard. You can see what I'm having. I added some gum at the inside of the cardboard at both sides, right? So after that, I'm just going to use this one to wrap the cardboard. I'm going to use the upper part. Just take your time with this. Take your time and make sure you're balancing it. I'm just going to use it to wrap the cardboard. You can see this. You can see this. Take your time. This is going to be the upper part, right? This is the place that is going to carry our head, the cap head. Not like the main head. The down part with the lining is the one that will be the obvious place that people can see. That's why we added the lining to it, and we make it and we top stitch the lining. So here now, from the inside also, you're going to simply put this inside. You can see that. At this place, you can see how clean that is. Make sure what you're gumming to the cardboard is very, very clean and straight. Take your time. You can see this. You can see what I'm doing here. It has to be as straight as possible. You see what I have? You see what I have? You can see this. So at the upper part here, we're still going to add some gum here in order to hold the lining to the fabric, so that we're going to seal the entire inside. The whole of the inside of the cap has to be sealed with the lining. Like, you won't be obvious. Everything is going to be firm, right? That's very, very important. Everything is going to be firm. So you're going to still put some gum here. You can see here, this part of the cap is the one that is going to be obvious. This is where the head, the head is going to enter, and this is where our cap cover is going to be, right? This part. So we still need to gum and make sure the entire inside of the cap is as firm and smooth as possible, right? But first, we're going to need to cut out our 1-inch foam. We're going to cut out our 1-inch foam. So all you have to do is simple. Just cut this, and at the side while you're cutting it, you're going to leave a space of 1 inch SS. 1 inch SS. You can see that. You're going to leave 1 inch SS. You can see that. You're going to leave 1 inch excess while you cut your foam. You can see what I'm doing. You can see that. So around the foam, there's an excess of 1 inch on the foam itself. You see what we have. So this is the one that is going to simply cover the upper part. You see what I'm doing here? This is the one that will cover the upper part. But the next thing we're going to do now is to cut out our main fabric, which is going to cover the foam itself, right? We need to cut out our main fabric. So the main fabric we're going to cut now is going to be, so it's just cut that. I'm just going to fold this into 2 places, and I'm going to place my cap above it. You see that? Because whatsoever we are cutting here also have to be larger than the cap itself, right? So after cutting this out, I'm going to slit it into 2. And I'm going to just align it together like this and sew it. Like I'm going to stitch the both together. So after stitching it together, I'll be able to use this to cut out my cap circumference, right? And also on the lining, you can see I cut a round lining, and the lining has to be bigger than your foam, right? It has to be larger than your foam, right? Like 1.5 inches extra bigger than your foam. That's very important. So at the end of the foam, I'm going to be adding some gum to it, so I'll be able to use the lining to wrap the foam. So I hope you guys are paying attention here. So far, if you have not smashed the like button, you should. You're supposed to have. Why have you not? Okay, so just like this, you can see that you're just going to place your gum all the way around. So after placing it all the way around, all you have to do now is just to use your lining to wrap the gum. You can see that. Just use your lining to wrap the foam. You can see what I'm doing. Take your time. Take your time. Just wrap it all around. And when you look at this from the front panel, you're going to see that it is very, very smooth, right? That's the main importance of doing this. You can see what we have. There's no guidance at the outer part. It is as smooth as possible. You see that? So all you have to do is just to do it all round. Gum the entire lining to the foam itself, and this is what you're going to be having. You see this? See how smooth that is? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is on the cap itself, right? We're going to put our gum inside of the cap so we can cover the lining up, and the entire inside of the cap can be as smooth as possible. That's very, very important. So let me do that and show you guys the results we're going to be having. You just need the inside to be as smooth and balanced as possible. So you can see what I have here. This is after adding some gum to the lining. I'm trying to, because of the angle of the cap circumference, you guys cannot see how clear the inside is, but that's what you're going to be having. You can see that it is smooth. So now the next thing that we are going to do now is to cut our cap circumference, which is the main fabric. So I'm just going to cut it out, and I'll be leaving like 1 inch extra. It has to be more than 1 inch actually, like 1.5 inches extra, because we're still going to weave the edge. Just pay attention here. You can see that. You can see the excess we have at the side. You can see that. So here also, I'm going to cut it like 1.5 inches extra. You see that? So after cutting that, all you have to do now is, when you place your foam inside here, you can see that our fabric is bigger than our foam, right? Our fabric is bigger than our foam. Okay, make sure the right side is facing up while the wrong side is facing down. Something exactly like this, because this has to go inside of the cap. I'm just doing practical so that you guys can understand what we are trying to achieve. This has to go inside of the cap and come out. But in order to get that shape that will go inside of the cap, let's do this first. I'm going to weave this round first. Then I'm going to simply join it to the foam itself. But let me weave it first. So after weaving this round, what I'll be doing now is simple. On the foam, on the lining and the foam that I've joined together, I'm going to add some gum to this entire backside, all the way around, put the lining and you can see what I have here, and I will simply place this above the gum. Make sure it is aligned and it's at the center. so that there will be space at both sides. So you can see what we have here. So you see this is exactly what we're going to be having. You see that? If you're enjoying this video so far, you should have smashed the like button. So this is what you're going to be having. So the next thing we're going to do now is simple. We're going to, like, at the side, we're going to needle, you're going to like thread a needle and make a cap, like a cuff cap at the side. That's what is going to give us the shape that is going to enter inside of this cap, and it's going to hold it firmly. So here I already thread the needle. So on the side, just on the fabric itself, not on the foam, just on the fabric itself, like this, you can see this, you can see this. You're just going to do some gathers on the side. You're going to do it all around the cap itself. See what I'm doing? See what I'm doing? You're going to do it all around in order to give you that cuff shape in which we need. So let me do it and show you guys the results. You can see this is what we're going to be having. See this? So take your time to make sure you align this place and make sure all of the gathers that are showing on the side, arrange it very well. Make sure there's no gathers. You can see what I'm doing. Try to open it all up. You can see that while you still maintain that cuff. Open it all up while you still maintain the exact cuff that you're trying to achieve. You can see. So after opening that all up, all you have to do now is just to lock your thread. I'm just going to make a stitch here. Simply lock my thread. I'm going to open it. So this is what our cap is going to look like. You can see that. You can see what the inside is looking like. So the next thing we're going to do now is make sure the place in which we top stitch is going to be the one that our head is going to enter. And this place that have an SS, that have a lining, is the one that is going to be at the, is the one that's going to hold the cap cover. So when I pull this inside, take your time to align this side. You can see that. This is what we're trying to achieve. You can see this. So now all you have to do is simple. Let me push this a little bit upward. You can see that. This is exactly what we're trying to achieve. But in order to have that place firmly holding down the cap, we're going to put some gum on the inside. On the inside, right? You can see what I'm doing. This is exactly the shape in which we want. But in order to be able to close it and attach it to the main cap circumference itself, you're going to need to put some gum. And after putting the gum, you can see that. So I'm going to put some gum all the way on the edges. Can you guys see this clearly? Okay, just at this side. This way our head cap is going to be. So just at this side, I'm just going to put some gum all the way around. You can see what I'm doing. Just like this, all the way around the edge of the cap. You can see what I do. I believe you guys can see this clearly. So now I will simply pull this inside. And I'm going to simply move it to the top. So now all you have to do is to take your time and gum the main fabric itself to the, you're going to gum the main fabric itself to the, and make sure you're using your hand to bring in the lining of the cover itself to cover the weaved area, right? The lining from the inside have to cover the weaved area. I have a gum stay here. I'm going to still remove that. So take your time, and after you're done with all of this, just take your time to make sure there's no gathers on each of the sides. It's very, very important. Align it very well. You can see what I'm doing. And after you gum all of the inside, you need to take it to the sun. Just drop it inside the sun for like 30 minutes, and your cap is going to be holding firm. So take your time at this area. You're going to take your time to like make sure it is as balanced as possible. See what I'm doing? See that? See that? See what I'm doing? You see that? Take your time. Make sure there's no gathers on the side at all. Take all of your time. You can see that. So from this inside, you can see that we still have our weave showing, obviously. All you have to do on that weave area is to simply use the lining on the cap cover to simply cover that weave area with a gum. It's very, very simple, and everything is going to stand firm. So all you have to do now is just to take this to the sun for a little bit and allow it to dry. Then you can simply give it a thorough closing. So this is what the cap is going to be looking like. So let me show you guys the final result we're going to be having after doing this. This is what the final result is going to look like. You can see that we have no gathers. So I did 2 of this cap. I actually did 2 of this. And this is the blue. This is the first. Okay, this is the blue, and this is the second ash. I have some stain of gum here. I'll still be removing all of those. It's very important. And here also, this is the final result. You can see that there's no gathers on the edges. You can see the inside. I'll still have to use my hand to like gum the lining on the cap cover to lining up with the side, so that there won't be the weave is not going to show at all, and our cap is going to stand firm. So this is what we're going to be having. So far, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're yet to subscribe. I have a couple of videos on the screen right now that you guys can watch on how to cut a senator. So that's about it on this video, and I will see you on another video. Peace, and do have a lovely day.